So my name is Edmund Zahidi. For those of you who have been here on Monday, I will be your lead analyst responsable for 3 of the activities related to the periodic evaluation or cyclical evaluation. For those of you who have not been here Monday, just a quick overview of where I come from. Actually, I was a professor of electrical engineering for about 25 years, overseas and in Canada as well. That's a long story. But since 10 years ago, I converted to curriculum quality analysis, quality and curriculum design and quality control. And why I'm saying this is that I think this is too strong. The first time I was exposed to these aspects of quality control and so on, it was a very extremely frustrating exercise for me, because as a professor, the last thing that I wanted to see is asking me to fill in forms and kind of comply with stupid things that I did not understand because nobody explained to me. But once I got into the field and I understood the value of it, that was for ABET accreditation, I realized that there is value to that. There is insights to be drawn. And at the end of the day, the program, which means the faculty and the students, they benefit. So, well, there are 3 sections in which I will bring my support. And actually, we have 3 workshops this morning: the SWOT analysis, SWOT strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, revision of program learning outcomes. This is the 2nd workshop. And finally, the curriculum analysis. And I showed this diagram yesterday. Actually, this is the report that needs to be the evaluation report that needs to be submitted. And one question that I get very often is that what is the relation between your support and what is going to happen? Well, this diagram, which I showed on Monday, shows you that the result of the SWOT is going to feed many parts of the report. Unfortunately, this is not a linear process. This does not mean that SWOT is here, PLO revision is here, curriculum analysis is here. That would simplify life for everyone. But this is how it is. You are going to receive a copy of these slides. So just to remind you that there are lots of information on the website for the time being to see about the details and how this works. Today, I'm going to talk to you regarding why we are doing what we are doing. Why do we need to do a SWOT analysis in the first place? And we're going to also look at the definition in the context of what we do. We are not an organization, we are not Microsoft, we are not the government, we're an academic institution. So in our context, what does it mean? And then I will touch on the process that we will follow. Finally, I will show you the tools that we have at our disposition. So let's start by saying, why do we do what we do? Well, we are living in an ever-changing environment, and everything is changing. The students are changing, their expectations are changing, generations are changing. I see some gray hair in the room. So
I don't have any hair.
You'll be.
Yeah. I thought I was.
So we basically need to adapt. That's the key word. And in order to adapt, we need to know what do we need to change in all of that. And the other thing is that we are not alone, actually. We have lots of competition. And with the upcoming of AI and stuff like this, well, things are going to change. Are we ready for this change? What do we think our stakeholders about what are we doing, how we are doing, what are we delivering? So how to attract and keep good students? Why is it relevant? Because, well, if you want to do good research, and if you want to have a fruitful academic life, you need to have good students, obviously. And comparison with other programs, I already mentioned that. but also what could we do with the same resources? So these are the questions that we would like to find answers for. And in order to do so, we propose to identify what are we doing well. This will be our strength. What is that needs really some improvement? These are our weaknesses. What can we do to improve the program using existing resources? So whatever does exist in terms of space, human resources, is there any way, maybe not, maybe yes? If it is yes, what can we do? And what is that if it is not addressed, we risk the closure of the program, period. So we already have this information, right? Each one of you, depending on your time you have spent in the department, you have ideas of what is working, what is not working. So why do we need a SWOT? Well, because this is evidence-based. It is not me who's saying that. These are your stakeholders that are saying so. So having evidence, I contrast it. I like to contrast it and say that this is not something of hearsay. Somebody is saying, and somebody has an agenda for his or her group or party or whatsoever. This is evidence-based. These are the stakeholders that are telling that. Who are the stakeholders? Well, obviously the students, your currently enrolled students, then your alumni, your major stakeholders, importantly, your faculty members who know very well about this SWOT, but may not be very vocal, may not talk about it openly, but they have ideas. Remember, the SWOT is done in a totally anonymous way. I haven't seen in the past years that I have been doing this with the 30 plus academic units, an abuse of this anonymity. So everyone really uses this opportunity, this platform, to express valid views. Support staff, because they are those who are in the front line with the students, the administrative side, but also employers and members of professional associations. So you may ask that, employers, I don't know so many employers, how am I going to do that? Well, we have some good news with the Institute of Research and Planning. We have some kind of understanding where I will explain to you what they can do to get their feedback. And we can also define custom categories. So if you would like to include a category that is not listed here, say, oh, I need this specific type of category, we will be happy to modify our questionnaire. So a definition that I would like here to, I just wanted to make a quick demo of our new tool. So Sarah Chedadi, who happens to be here today, she has diligently worked. We have Dania Black also of the office of the, I think you have seen her communication. When you receive emails from BEP, etc., it's Dani, right? That's the face. Sarah and me, we are on the background, right? So Sarah has developed a Prezi presentation. So I have slides, but yesterday I used my slides, but today I said, why not use the Prezi, which will be shared with the stakeholders when they take the questionnaire. So we explain what are the definitions. Obviously, you have a goal in the program, you would like to achieve it, and it's an internal factor that is in general under your control. And we have examples here. So a bunch of examples depending on the area. You can talk about administration. You can talk about having or not external links. You can have school resources, obviously. I take a sample here, like professors. We should change this to profs. So a dedicated support staff, just as an example, we have modern equipment, spaces, these are the resources. So what we are trying to say here is to give the stakeholders that are going to look at the SWOT questionnaire and make it less dry and for them to understand what we are talking about. About curriculum, course content, and teaching, we receive lots of feedback regarding course content. The feedback usually is that, you know, people are conscious of the time and money that they are spending. A little bit of redundancy is good, but if you have too much redundancy, if they feel like the same topic is being repeated over and over, they get frustrated. So that's something that we hear often. At the same time, they may miss some of the material. I mean, they feel like the job market is requiring them to have such and such skill or knowledge, and they don't have it. So this will go under weakness. So when we say course content and teaching, that's a huge chunk. Research capacity, this touches on more graduate programs, especially opportunities to collaborate and to know experts in the field, and obviously program structure. So these are the examples of strength. And then a beautiful thing about this SWOT, and this is what I like very much, is that at the end of the questionnaire, which is going to use targeted questions to each one of your categories. So because you know what you are looking for, you can tune without giving a bias. We don't mean to guide the answers, but you guess that something is not working here or something is working here. You would like to have to gather the evidence about it. Are you correct? Are you not correct? How many of your stakeholders do things similarly to you? And at the end, we ask them the following question. What are the strategies that you suggest in order to address all of that? So we do the same thing for opportunities. I go quickly towards the definition. Obviously, the definition here is something that can be done better with existing resources. Here, we're not asking or inviting comments like, hire more professors, give us more money. Although we receive this is filtered out, because this is not what we mean by when we say opportunities. Opportunities is, how do I make a better use of the existing resources? Is there any way that the department is not aware of? And you may have some very good hints to, you may try this or that. So examples again, and then we go to weaknesses, obviously the weaknesses. So weakness is an internal characteristic or factor that may impede your capacity to reach your objective. Okay, so it's something that is under your control. And there are many weaknesses that we can talk about. The issue here is, which one would you like to address? So again, one thing that comes often, lack of useful relationship. Useful in terms of, hey, I'm a graduate, I'm going to graduate next year. I don't know anyone, I don't have any network. They panic, they want to apply for jobs. So that's something. Can we do something about this? Limited research capacity, I mentioned. Insufficiently responsive administration, slow response, that's frustrating. So we have to be careful about that, not to lose our good students. Sometimes the programs, either they are too strict or too flexible. Too flexible means that you can basically take whatever you like as courses, and we agree. Well, not in these words, but I mean, this is an exaggerated. Too strict is that this is it, and you cannot move. You cannot take. So there is a sweet point between these two. Where is it? What are the courses that students would like to take from other faculties or the departments, and for the time being they're not allowed, perhaps, and that would make a good effect, a good impact. What else? I think, yeah, lack of resources. We receive this quite often, inadequate equipment. Unfortunately, poorly equipped laboratories. Sometimes we get this. It's good that the department is aware of this from the students. And threats, finally. So threats in general are factors that are not under the control of the academic unit. So this may be external political changes, declining population, the demographics is changing, the government takes a decision to cut this or add this, etc. There's nothing much we can do. But what we can do is that if we can identify these threats, perhaps we can take mitigating actions. So we can protect the program from these threats to become destructive and to lead to the abolition of the program. Maybe this is something that we can do. Let's look at that. So examples, I mentioned restrictive policies, geographical remoteness, lower demand for the program. That is something that leads in general, and unfortunately the central administration has become extremely sensitive to budgeting and stuff like that. So they calculate for good reasons. I'm not criticizing this, but we have to be aware of that. And then we fall. There is a risk of falling in a vicious circle. Unsatisfactory student services, ineffective recruitment, and worsening economic trends, recession, high unemployment, reduced investment, etc., etc. So there are lots of factors that may contribute to this. So let me go back to the presentation now. So in our academic context, a SWOT analysis would be a step-by-step process to, one, find reliable clues. Again, I say evidence-based, reliable, something that you can kind of put on paper and tell the OCAV or the central administration, this is what our stakeholders are thinking. I heard about a department and I was discussing with them a program, and there was a problem in the evaluation. And then I said, why do you do the evaluations this way? And they said, because the number of TAs has been cut. We don't have sufficient TA because of lack of resources. I said, well, take this information and put it to them. I mean, this is evidence. This is not the director or the professor who's teaching by laziness whatsoever. This does not exist in my mind. This is the stakeholders that are telling us that we are not happy with the way evaluations are done, and the reason is that we don't have enough TAs. So if you want to cut resources, please don't cut the budget for TAs. This does not make sense. Yes, please.
When you go and look for this evidence, how do you know that the people who are giving you the feedback are representative of the people that are, I mean, this is the same with course evaluation. You get 95% of them are great, and then someone tears you apart. And so,
absolutely, absolutely. So I will show you on the report that is coming, we factor in the number of people who express the same thing in the same line. So, and then we prioritize. So if we have, let's say, 12 persons, 12 times this topic came up, that is indicative of the importance of this for your community. Obviously, we don't get 100% of the population, we get a small part, we are aware of that. But if there are only 2 or 3 or even 1, we have lots of 1 person saying so this goes to the bottom of the list. And obviously, we know that there are limitations. So these are inputs, but again, you know best what to expect, right? So this is some kind of validation of what you knew already. So you have evidence to show now. These 11 people out of 30 are saying that. So this must be true. So the first one is to find out about these reliable clues. The second one is to find out what solutions stakeholders may have for you. And you would be surprised. For example, in one case, as opportunities, we received a partial prof. We strongly invite, they have lots of good ideas. And she was saying, why don't you do this and that? And that was a valid point. Or in a graduate program, we had, in an undergraduate program actually, undergraduate students were saying, we would love to be mentored by a master or a doctoral student. Why not? You professors are busy. Give us a doctoral students who could mentor us and tell us what makes sense. I'm interested by graduate studies, but I don't know anything. This doesn't cost money. The graduate student would be happy to spend, I don't know, 1 hour a week or 1 hour a month to do this mentorship. You know, these are the solutions that may not be obvious to us. I mean, me before that, to you, but it's valid. I mean, and there is not so much of asking money from the management. And then finally, develop strategies to strengthen the programs. So that's the last part. I'm going to get back to this. So what are the factors that we are going to probe? Depending on your faculty, your program, obviously teaching, faculty members, staff, laboratory, if you have, online, dormitory, it may affect your students. Maybe you don't have any control over it, but it may affect the quality of life. The career aspiration, whether you use serious gaming or whatsoever to deliver the material. Does it make sense? Do they like it? If they don't like it, was it useful? Your alumni can tell you what your professors think about that. So anything can be probed. Yeah, so here, well, I have the definition, but because we use the Prezi, so I'm not going to this. It's exactly the same thing, but you will receive a, let me share with you just this one, maybe. I mentioned to you that you will have, I don't know whether I mentioned to you or not. Anyway, you will have a template of editable questions, right? I will show it to you. And you can tweak these questions to find out more about what your stakeholders. So for example, I have 4 categories of stakeholders: students, alumni, prof, and support staff. And I wanted to know about the weaknesses of the program. By the way, we strongly encourage you to limit to 2 questions per category and per SWOT to reduce survey fatigue. For example, which of your expectations have not been fully met by the program? It's a very wide, open questions, sorry. So again, all of these questions are open. This is exactly the opposite of having satisfaction surveys, which is great, yes, no, or like it. Here you can have many things, and depending on the students in political science, the programs in political science, and etc., they write essays, which is good. I mean, lots of information. The processing is going to be costly, but it's a gold mine. Identify redundancy that did not really help you assimilate content. I got this material, this topic repeated in this course, but honestly, did I need that? Do I really need that? Could we reshuffle the content to put some other content to make me more employable when I graduate? Professors, what makes it difficult for students to learn efficiently? What are the obstacles? What is the weakness? What are the major obstacles to your teaching and or your research? Let them talk. It's not hearsay, it's not in the corridor, or it's not a coffee machine. Most of you know that already, but this is to gather the evidence about that. And the support staff, alumni, etc. So opportunities, again, definitions, sample questions, can have a look. These slides will be shared with you. Finally, threats, sample questions. For example, I like this one. I'm an alumni of your program. I compare myself to other graduates from other universities. Am I missing something? That's a threat, because everything is reputation, right? Finally, is asking stakeholders for solution. I touched on that. This is a single question. This is not an editable. We don't edit this question unless you really, really want to edit it, but that's another story. We tell them, okay, thank you for taking time to identify this SWOT for us. Now, can you guide us? Actually, we beg them. And you don't know how alumni come happy about this question. I have received feedback from alumni. Thank you for this question. This is the first time I receive an email from the university not asking me for money.
That's next, right?
So we are asking them, please tell us what you think should be done so that we can address any issues and improve the quality. This is a gold mine, believe me. Many of them, they answer, they hint to these solutions that they may have inside the questions. That's fine. That's fine. We will process this. But this gives them the opportunity, first of all, you're valorizing them. You're saying that, okay, we know now what you said. Tell us what could we do? And remember, all of this is going to be put in your hands. It's up to you to decide which one is doable, which one is valid, which one you would like to use and proceed, and which one is not for now, maybe later. So, response rate. The 5 top reasons stakeholders do not show engagement are listed here. So this is what we need to avoid at all costs, because getting good responses, accurate information is crucial in this business. So lack of relevance, why should I do that? And we'll see how to address that. Questionnaire fatigue, we will see how to address that. Poor design, well, our design is what it is. It's based on our few years of experiments, trial and error. Poor communication and time constraints. I'm going to touch on that. So the do's and don'ts in SWOT. We would like to focus really, really on opinions, feelings expressed as frankly, as honestly, as directly as possible, freely and candidly. Obviously, each department has its own personality, its own SWOT. What we would like to do is to anticipate those and massage the questions in such a way that we can find more clues without willing to protect or destroy someone or somebody. Really, it has to be in a neutral way, but to gather this evidence. Is it true what we believe? And then encouraging participation is crucial as well through multiple channels. What are the channels? Obviously, we have the emails that are going to go out. I'm going to show you in the timeline who is going to send when the email. But one thing that we have discovered is that if during class time, you just mention, we have professors who mention, listen, guys and girls, we need your feedback. you are going to receive a SWOT questionnaire. Please enter it. We are going to listen. We're going to read it. This is not something kind of another formality among 1001 other formalities. They will listen to you. We have extremely good experience by that to increase the response rate. By the way, response rate, if you are very, very good with your students, 25% maybe, 30% paradise. If not, it's going to drop 5%, 10%. So, and in order to avoid all the pitfalls that I talked to you, is to make sure that you're not aiming for a satisfaction survey. There is no yes, no answer questions. There's no such a thing. It's open-ended. How much open? It depends on what you want to gather. And avoid Likert questions. I had only one academic unit who really insisted on having Likert questions. Well, we oblige if you want to, because they had a specific, but really Likert question does not have its place in a SWOT. SWOT has to be really, really open. What's that? Likert question is when you put, how much do you disagree with this statement? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a hit or miss, okay? Yes, either you hit the target or miss it. In a SWOT context, you miss it. We don't have so many questions. We don't have the luxury of making Likert questions. Likert question works when you have thousands of people. Yeah. And fatigue, how do we try to minimize the number of questions. We have a maximum of 2 questions per category. So students, for example, they will have 2 questions regarding strength, maximum 2 questions. Now, I had an academic unit who said, I need only 1 question. God bless you. If you can make with 1 question, that's great. And we ask only essential information because, yeah, we could ask lots of things, but we don't need it. One thing is that what I personally strongly recommend, and this is not done, unfortunately, usually because of lack of time, is to communicate the results of the SWOT analysis with the stakeholders. That could be as easy as putting a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting, let's say couple of weeks after the SWOT closes, or a few weeks later, and say, we have heard you. This is what you told us. This is what we get. And this is what we are going to do about it. You raise this issue, hire more professors. Unfortunately, this is not under our control. We are going to communicate this wish of yours to the central management, to the university, whatsoever, who has the control resources. You have asked for this. This is not doable because of this and that. Or you have done this solution, you have hinted to this solution, we are going to implement it. And they are, first of all, you are valorizing them. I have received this comment because my name and my email appears on the first page of the questionnaire. I received a very cold message for someone. Why do you want me? What happened to my previous surveys? I have done so many surveys for the university. I have never been told what happened with this data. Did someone read it? And you guys, if you read it, why are you repeating the same thing year over year? So in order to prevent this and kind of spread this kind of positive feedback that the university is really attentive to what you are saying, that is something that I strongly recommend. And I would be happy to provide you with my support, if you like, whatever support I can. So let's have a look at the tools. Oh, I think I missed the one section. Before the tools, I need to go to Okay, this is the critical slide. Yeah. So we're going to take a look at the timeline. There are lots of steps. Whatever happens here is yours truly. Whatever happens here is you, right? So what will happen is that I will share a database of open-ended customizable questions. This is a Word document, very easy to use. You just delete, you just do whatever you like. And we have also a database of socio-demographic questions. These two documents will be on OneDrive, SharePoint, shared with you. And what you will need to do at this point, step one, is to find out what are your academic programs for which you would like to. So you have the possibility of asking your respondents, which program are you referring to? And this is useful information because they gave the SWOT regarding that program. The categories of stakeholders, and you may need also to recruit an assistant. I will explain to you why you will need this assistant and what is the task for this assistant. Then, if, and 100, until now, 100% of the cases, we had the alumni requested, we have requests from the academic unit to get the alumni in. So I don't have the list of your alumni, you don't have, the university is extremely protective. So we have the able Sarah Chedadi here, who is going to, on your behalf, to apply for the list of your alumni. It's a secret list. The university is very, very sensitive to this list. Before that, I had, we are lucky to have her because before that, it was the academic units and that was a headache. Anyway, so during this time, this will take 2 weeks for the unit to, that's correct, Sarah, 2 weeks to get back to us. So during this time, you are going to select, modify, add questions. I will be giving some hints, some suggestions. This, do you want to do it this way or that way, etc. And then I develop the online questionnaire in the first language. Usually we do bilingual, unless your program is unilingual, you're not interested in the other language, but most of the time it's bilingual. After this, you validate the question. So validation is not mechanical validation. The question works fine. It is sharing the questionnaire with one student and one prof at least. And if you know somebody from outside that does not know anything about this activity. So it's kind of a test, like somebody who is receiving this questionnaire, do they understand the same thing that you meant? Or is it confusing? They were not sure what you meant by the, because remember, these are open questions, open-ended questions. So they have to do some interpretation. And we have valuable feedback in general. If you can formulate your question this way, it will make more sense. We're not sure how to reply. So based on this, we will meet, obviously. The way we meet is every 2 weeks. We're going to have a check-in meeting online. And I do the modification. I develop the online question in the second language. That is going to be rapidly, very rapid, but we ask you also to validate it. So for example, if the first version is in English, the second one you would send to a Francophone to see what he or she thinks about the language used, the terminology. Then we have lots of draft letters waiting for you. So invitation, etc. So this is all nice and neat. We have all the information. We check with you to validate the invitation letter that Sarah is going to send to your alumni because it will have your signature, not mine, right? So once you validate this, we send the invitation to alumni, you send to other stakeholders. So who are your other stakeholders? Profs, your students, and your support staff. Alumni, it's us. Let's say you have 4. So we give stakeholders about 10 days, 1 week to 10 days to get comfortable, cozy with the questionnaire and get at the same time. So you remember I mentioned the assistant here. We'll need someone to prepare the report because that's going to be a huge Excel sheet with lots of information, and if you have people from political science or they write long essays, so you need somebody to crunch all this information. So the training will come from me, and I have all the tools. I will communicate to this assistant what is and generally the assistant is a graduate student, master or doctoral. And in the meantime, I check the number of respondents, so we'll communicate, and you decide whether to keep open or close the questionnaire. Everything will depend on how many respondents were you hoping for, right? Once you say, okay, that's a good number, and I can give you my opinion if you like on that, the thematic consolidation by the assistant will be done. So I will be coaching. Usually this means that there are iterations here. So between me and him or her, there will be back and forth. We say, oh, change this. I'm going to show you one sample of the report. And this report will be sent to you. And then we can sit down and I will offer insight. This is the question that generally comes is that, are we a typical academic unit? How do we compare with other academic units, etc.? So I can kind of give you a relative positioning of how harsh or how sweet were your respondents' feedback. So this may be useful for you to put things into context, and then we're done. So I'm going to.
When does this all start? Is this up to us, or is this something you'll kick off? You have a timeline here, but it's no begin.
This could be as soon as next week. We can start.
Do you kick it off, or do you wait for us to send an email to you?
No, what I will do with all the information that I have, and from Graciela, I will send an email with information so that you can share with me what are the activities out of these 3 segments of SWOT, PLO, and curriculum analysis for which you would like support. And based on this, we'll schedule the rest of the items.
Can you, with the graduate assistant,
Yeah.
like that's something I'll have to ask the dean for. Is this 130 hours? Is it 65 hours?
How many responses are you, what is your student population and your stakeholder population?
Grad students, close to 1,000.
So this is going to be a rather elaborated, I mean, let's say 20% reply, that's going to be a large size. Yeah. Yeah. So let me show you a sample of the results of this SWOT analysis. This is what will land on your email box at the end of this activity. Obviously, we explain what were the questions that were asked, what categories were polled, some demographics, number of respondents, key demographic data, who was doing what, etc., etc. This is typical, but this is the core of the thing. So we are addressing strength. We have 23 respondents that hinted to instructional approaches as strength for that particular department. And we have one is saying that, one is saying that, etc., etc. Then we have 11 that hinted to the curriculum. 11 that talked about departmental life. And you see the work of this assistant is crucial here because he or she needs to look at the responses and interpret these responses. And this is what I will do. I will coach that person, to minimize the number of mistakes because you can easily misinterpret. Why did you so? Did you say so and so? So for each one, and back to your, so now we have 13 who say that the quality of the core faculty, that's a strength, all right? There's one who says develop student attention span. Actually, one professor who says that. Okay, thank you. Well, we heard that. Okay. Now, weaknesses. Again, instructional approaches. There are lots of, and into brackets, we put For example, 4 of those understandably increased administrative duties. 4 were prof was saying so, okay? So we go down, we zoom down, and remember, this is extracted from a huge amount of blah, blah, blah noise, right? Resources, lack of financial support for students, lack of resources, lack of material resources, lack of useful and up-to-date, etc., etc. So we carry on. Weaknesses, curriculum, 14 people hinted to curriculum weaknesses, departmental life, 7. And you have all the raw data, by the way. All the responses as a verbatim will be shared with you. So you can verify, you can go for your own if it is something that you would like to know more about. Opportunities, 14 on instructional approaches, 11 on curriculum. I go fast here, you will have all the inadequate resources. Threats, 25. So they said that core faculty is high quality. Now we hear that, because this is a new SWOT, I remember, we are hearing that some profs are retiring, some good profs, and there is no replacement. We are very worried about that. Instructional approaches for curriculum, departmental life. So you see it is 1 and 1, okay. So that's the weight of that. I like these 4 quadrants because we have the strength, we have the opportunities, we have the weaknesses, and we have the threats here. So this is a very compact way of putting things. Where are we doing well? Where do we need some to look into that and see if we can improve a bit? And the crown in the is the strategies. So here what happens is that we are going to look into the challenges that were identified by the stakeholders. So stakeholders are going to identify challenges which are written in red. And here you have what are the insights that they offer to address that challenge from their perspective. So it's offered to you, it's up to you to decide, is it valid? Is it correct or not? Can we do that or not? So inadequate resources to ensure the success of students at the department, that was another challenge, and the insights, obviously hire more professors. Yes, we know that. Let's look at other stuff. Insufficient sense of community, weak departmental life. It's not obvious, I mean, to guess that the students are feeling strongly about that. But here they are voicing out. Unclear expectation for graduate students. And at the end, we put in the report, I asked the assistant to put the verbatim text of strategies as expressed by respondents. So you have all the raw data, but here we copy paste the raw data regarding the strategies, because this is extremely important in my view. So you have everything black and white. Student responses, alumni responses, professor responses, etc., etc. Yes.
Do you ever analyze it according to linguistic group?
You mean Francophone versus Anglophone? This can be done if we feel like there is a, not all departments are kind of a fan of doing that, but I have also departments who ask for, we would like to look. So this is why, thank you for your question actually. I'm going to share with you the socio-demographics. So we have one question. Veuillez indiquer votre langue de préférence, parler à la maison. Okay, so this is perhaps the engineering, they don't use this question, but other communication stuff, they use this. And then what is the language in which you study? So based on that, we can split, we can filter the responses if this is something you're interested in. Geographical location of provenance, origin, where do they come from? Again, we try to minimize. The beauty of the socio-demographic is that this is just select. This is not open-ended. So it's it's easy to add more than 2 questions. Programme d'études, so program of study, which year of studies are you in? Have you combined? So all of these questions are for you to select from, or you can just say, I don't want these questions. And this is the document that I was talking about. So here we're talking about strength. We have examples of questions that are offered to you for students, then for alumni, etc. We go down, and from each of these tables, you may choose two of those or one of those, or you may kind of edit these and say, oh, I like this, but I would like to tweak it. And generally, this is the case. I would like to ask it this way. I would like to reformulate it, etc. So we have all these questions that are shared with you. Support staff, employers, etc. Oh, regarding employers, very quickly, run out of time, sorry. For those of you who were on the orientation day, I mentioned that for the employers, we have some means of looking into the database, and that database is Lightcast. Maybe some of you have access to Lightcast, maybe not. So I will show you the example, just an illustration about what we did last year with the Bachelor of Health Sciences. So the idea was, it's extremely difficult to approach employers. As an academic institutions, not so many of us have direct linkages with organization, companies, etc., etc. So one way around this that we are proposing, you remember the category employers at the end? In order to see what the employment market looks like for our graduates, we can use this database of job posting, and we call this job posting analytics. So we have the support of the institutional research and planning who have access to this database, and they can, given the information that is shared with them, they can look, for example, top 15 employment occupation in Canada for people who are holding a Bachelor of Health Science, and they list it here, right? So I go very fast here because of time, but anyway, all these slides will be, then they can give us whether this straight away with a diploma we can get a job, or whether you need to complement this with a certification or something like that, or you need a kind of additional education. So there are different career paths, and this she can detect using the database. Salary comparison, what are the growing occupations in this domain, etc., etc. And you remember environmental scan that was mentioned on Monday, for those of you who were here Monday? So that's the environmental scan that can be done. So University of Ottawa is here, this program, how many years, the name, the tuition, but here's the competition, at least in Ontario. So she can list down for you all this information so that you know who are the main players. Yesterday I had a question, is this limited to Ontario? No, this can be done also for the whole country.
And who can do that for us?
Yes, this is a service that has been available since last year. It's very useful to position the academic unit with respect to what the others are doing. Then based on this information, she can even go further, and she can put on some recommendations that, listen, this program at Queen's has this feature that, do we want to offer it or not to attract good students? This program at McMaster has this feature. So this is a kind of differentiating, this is a kind of reflective work where she can tell you what are the differences, what are the major points that may be attractor points for good students. And finally, I like this slide very much. this is the code that she uses. I just repeated here, but the main thing is here, this table. So I passed to the person whose name is Juliana Sergi, a very nice colleague. I passed to her based on the program learning outcomes as they exist, the set of skills that your graduates are supposed to acquire, knowledge and skills and aptitude. So this is something that is extracted from this program, your vision of the program, description of the program, program learning outcome. She enters this into the database. And the database tells her that, listen, I have found, let's say, for the 5 past years, the job offerings, they require these kind of skills, competencies that your students, your graduates have, but they need these also that apparently your graduates do not have. Okay, so as you can see, this is more on transferable skills like interpersonal communication, leadership, project management, etc. And there are stuff like Microsoft 365. Okay, we are not here to teach Microsoft 365, but our students need to know that, or SQL programming languages, etc., etc. So this gives you a hint of what the market expectations are in terms of a graduate from your program, what type of extra stuff the graduate should have to better align with the job offering. That's some valuable information in my mind. And all of this information is put up to you. Juliana Sergi. So I will be liaising between you and Juliana. So your contact point would be myself, but I will establish the link and provide her the information so that she can take over. Very quickly, this is my last slide. So we use the SWOT analysis to identify the clues, evidence-based. This is a step-by-step process. There are lots of steps, but I will be here to guide you through each step. And the stakeholders are anyone who is directly or indirectly affected by your program or involved in your program. We try to integrate as many different perspectives as we possibly can. The success criteria is to have good data, good retraction. By good, I mean frank expression of opinions, very personal, open-ended questions, neutral but thoughtful analysis. At the end, I forgot to mention that we also give the option to respondents if they want to meet up with me directly. And there are cases where profs, or even I had one employer, wanted to talk to me. And in 1 hour, again, they shared information that they felt like they were more comfortable with sharing in a Zoom meeting. That is a possibility. And then we tell them, if you do so, your anonymity is not respected anymore. You breach your anonymity because you're leaving your email address. Otherwise, everything else is anonymous. Strategies, these strategies will be able to inform your action plan for program improvement. If you like, all this information is put on your desk. It's up to you to see how to make good use of that. I think I'm done, so we're going to stop here.
So there was a question about when we start. When should the SWOT analysis process be completed by? Is it December or?
Okay, regarding the timing, I think the best thing would be to have a holistic approach given the timing that will be determined by the Office of the Program Evaluation. So I'm still waiting for these deadlines to come up. I had yesterday communication with the director, and she will, Graciela, who's working at the Office of the Evaluation, she will get back to you with the timing. So we are going to work backward with you. But the good news is that starting next week, we can kickstart the SWOT analysis. So as soon as I get back, I will fire you an email with all the information, and I will ask you a few questions. For example, do you want to do the SWOT analysis? Because I have academic units who say, oh, we have done our SWOT analysis. Or they say, we know already what is our weaknesses, what are our weaknesses. Well, God bless you. I mean, I'm very happy. Okay.
So we're counting back from June the 25th, is it? When our
That's right, that's right, that's right. But what I would recommend personally is to kickstart as soon as you can. The reason being is that this is going to feed your program learning outcome. One of the reasons we start by the SWOT analysis is that during the SWOT analysis, you might discover that things have changed in my field and expectations have changed. So maybe I need to tweak my program learning outcomes to better align myself with the expectation of my stakeholders.
So that's the bit that confused me. I've been through a few of these, and I've been an external evaluator of a few across Canada and in New Zealand. Is it appropriate? Because I read through the work on learning outcomes and everything. Is it appropriate between now and June for us to change our learning outcomes? I thought we were being evaluated on what we've been doing for the last 7 years.
Yeah, so we are talking about two different problems.
Okay.
We're talking, no, that's fine. It's confusing, I know. So let me show you this slide, which puts things in perspective a bit. Try to, where is it?
Nice photo.
Okay. So this is a slide I showed you on Monday, so what we suggest is to have the SWOT analysis that starts first and the report. And while the SWOT analysis is being done, we can do the PLO revision. So the result of the SWOT analysis is going to inform the PLO revision. Obviously, this is done based on what has been ongoing for the past 6-7 years, right? And you will not have a chance to change and test the curriculum because this is an ongoing process, right? So this is only informs, which means that besides your insights about PLOs, what your PLOs should be, you can use the results and the insights offered by the SWOT analysis to revise your PLO. So once your PLOs are going to be revised, I will explain to you during the curriculum analysis how is it going to be staggered over the time. But it's going to be a period of 3 years before the progress report comes in. And revised PLOs are going to be the prerequisite for the curriculum analysis, because we don't want to do a curriculum analysis for things that we know are going to change. You see my point? So we're going to revise the PLOs, then we're going to do the curriculum analysis. More on that on curriculum analysis so that things are a bit